What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If you don't know who I am, that means you're new. I'm Mark. What's good with y'all? Go check out my other videos. Of course, check them out. But first, watch this one. This is a pretty important one. All right. Now, this video's topic, you read the title, you saw the thumbnail. I'm going to be expressing this specific phrase multiple times in this video. I am not a lawyer. In 0 out of the 50 states in the United States of America, am I a lawyer? I mean, I think technically we have 52 for, that's not the point. All right. I am in nowhere in the world a lawyer. In no country, no continent. I am not a lawyer. So you can take my opinion with a grain of salt. I do not care. All right. I'm just giving y'all my opinion on what seems, at least based from what I've heard from lawyers, from what I've heard from people who were in self-defense situations. These just seem like common sense things to do, and this might be useful for the new gun owner. All right. So I will say, as I said multiple times, I am not a lawyer. What you guys choose to do is, it's on you, buddy. All right. Now, I'm not going to sit here and recommend you do anything illegal, of course, but laws vary by state, and if you're in a state like Florida, it can vary by cities and counties. I mean, I think actually it might be all states now that I think about it. Not 100% sure. Look, here's the thing. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I live in Florida. Unless it's something super big, like when New York tried tried not issuing concealed carry permits to people, or tried taking forever to the point that they wouldn't be able to get them, then unless something like that, I don't really care to look into it. You see what I mean? There's no point in that because I don't live in those areas. I live in Florida, so I can tell you right here, right now, in Florida, varies by county. It does, and honestly, in some areas, depending on who's in charge, it really varies by the state because it's kind of hard to explain. We got sheriffs that can go into different towns, whatnot, whatever. That's not the point. That's neither here nor there. I'm going to run through all the situations, and I'm actually going to add an extra one along with the nature defense because we do technically have, or nature animal defense, whatever the hell y'all want to call it. I don't even think I have a concrete name for that yet. Like to this day, I still don't think I have, and I probably added this into the channel at least 4 or 5 months ago, something like that. So I don't know what to tell y'all. But I do got a part 2 for that little section, so that's not the point. We're gonna start with home defense. Someone breaks into your home. We're gonna go with the standard. You hear someone kicking in your door in the middle of the night. You go out there, and I'm gonna go what I I'm gonna go off what I know from my state laws. So this might only be good for states that have laws like castle doctrines, stand your ground laws, situations like that. But here in Florida, somebody breaking in my home is enough of a threat to me, enough proof to me that they're willing to kill me. So they gonna get shot. You see what I mean? But I'm not trying to make jokes about this. This is just they're serious situations. I'm trying to lighten it up a little bit. Uh, but generally speaking, let's say you shoot somebody, and I do want to point this out, guys. When I say self-defense situations, you guys can look at it as, oh, I shot and killed somebody, or I shot and wounded somebody. Whatever you want to look at it as. Because generally speaking, I think that what I'm going to say should apply to both. So first things first, you shoot until the threat isn't a threat anymore. Uh, don't sit here and be so damn worried. Oh yeah, well what about this at the third? If there's still a threat that you need to protect yourself from, protect yourself. So that should be right out of the way first off. But in Florida, as I said, we got laws like that where we can do that. But back to what I was saying. Someone breaks into your home, knowing that they kicked in your door. Go out there, shoot them. Y'all can decide whether or not, in your head you killed them or not. That's not really a specific detail in what I'm going to say. Uh, let's say you, let's say you do, end up taking their life, which would be a very unfortunate thing, of course. And this also goes for if you don't. You want to be the first person to call 911. Uh, why is that? And here's the thing: I get into arguments with people all the time because I grew up around a lot of hood people. They're like, "Oh yeah, well, that's snitching," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's snitching. Snitching is unnecessarily getting somebody in jail or unnecessarily giving out information you didn't need to. Someone broke into my home, and someone breaks into my home and I shoot them and end up killing them. Who am I going to call? I'm not going to call you guys. You know what I mean? I'm not going to call y'all and be like, hey, come help me pick up this body. No. Like, we're all going to go to jail. No. So I'd rather, you know what I mean? And we get in arguments about it all the time, but I think it's a general consensus that, it's all gotten down to that. That's not really looked at as snitching. You know what I mean? Because you defended your life. There's, you know what I mean? There's really nothing for you to snitch about. Look, let's say you did end up taking the guy's life, not going to jail. Now, granted, if if it was somebody who like broke into your home and you end up shooting them, taking their life, you say, yeah, they broke into my home, and I shot to defend my property, but I don't think you should sit there and be like, oh yeah, well, yeah, I know so and so. He did this at the third. His mom does this at the third. His sister does this at the third. His granny does this at the third. No, that's unnecessary. So I kind of want to get that out of there because I feel like I hear some people already typing, trying to be like, oh yeah, well, you want to be the first to call the police. Yes, you do, because no matter what, the person who is first calling the police or 911 is generally looked at as the victim. That's the truth of the matter. Even if they're not, unfortunately, that can be a good or a bad thing. It can be used against you because let's say you don't end up taking the person's life, which once again, you don't want to take someone's life. I'm not advocating for going out of your way to try to harm somebody here, or not harm, but go out of your way to take someone's life. But let's say you just shoot and harm them. They're still alive. They're down. They're not a threat anymore. They're not getting up. They may be passed out. Whatever. You know, let's say you don't call the police then, which would be a very dumb thing to do. They get up. They start to get away. If they call the police, they could. They're gonna look like the victim at first. They're gonna be like, "Oh yeah, gunshot victim," right there. First thing it's gonna say. But they just broke into your home. You see what I mean? So generally speaking, girl, shut the hell up. So generally speaking, in pretty much all self-defense situations, this goes across the board. You usually want to be the first person to get on the line with 911 about it. Uh, that's first off. Second, and once again, guys, I am not a lawyer. For home defense, you want to make sure that it's kind of a stupid thing to say, but it's something that I feel should be pointed out. If you have a bunch of guns laying around, put them away. No matter if they're legal or not, still a good idea to just put them away. If they have nothing to do with the situation, there is no need for them to be out. No need. All right. Now, granted, some people could argue, "Oh yeah, well that's tampering with evidence." It's not evidence because it wasn't involved in it. You see what I mean? Like if let's say I'm on my couch, someone kicks in my door, I have my pocket gun on me, shoot them on my couch, but I have my AR on my table over here. What does my AR have to do with that situation? Nothing. It was just around. You see what I mean? And I don't know that's gonna be once again, guys. I'm not a lawyer, so you want to do some research on the laws. So that's definitely something that I feel should be pointed out, though, is that if if there's something like another firearm laying around that has nothing to do with the situation, I think you should put it up. You know, that you don't need the police to sit there and be like, oh yeah, well, what's this one here for? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we're gonna have to take this too, you know, and for no reason, because unfortunately they might do that. Some cops are assholes. I'm the person to say that. Not all cops are bad, but there are cops that are bad. You see what I mean? So that's something that we should all think about. Uh, but it's a big thing. Make sure that you're the first person to get to 911. You don't want your neighbor getting to it first. You don't want the person who broke into your home getting to it first. You see what I mean? It's not going to look good for you overall. Now, concealed carry situation where you're out and about. You're carrying someone, maybe tries attacking you, robbing you, whatever the situation is that it may be. I actually have a few, good tips for this, right? Uh, all around the board tip. Shoot until the threat isn't a threat. I believe I said that. As I said before, with all around tip, you want to be the first to call 911. That's all around. In a concealed carry situation where you're out and about, if you can get away, do it. Get away. No need to use your gun. If you can get away. Leave. If you absolutely can't, shit happens. I mean, it's not like I'm, you'd be happy about it, but shit does happen. Uh, it's you don't want realistically there to be any error in it. So I think there should be some good general guidelines that I believe these should be pretty solid, especially for the new gun owner. Now, please remember, I'm going by what I know off Florida law. All right, a lot of y'all are in different states. I know that. So, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next one, which is a two-parter. All right, I'm gonna call it animal defense. So, generally speaking, I don't know if y'all know, but when I talk about animal defense, I think of two situations realistically. If you're out in like the woods, for example, completely wild animal, or if we're talking a situation like you're maybe in a city and could be a wild animal, could just be a loose dog, whatever, you know. So for these situations, generally speaking, I'm gonna go with loose big ass dog, right? And then I'm just gonna go with realistically any wildlife. I'm gonna go with any big wildlife that could kill you. Let's say a bear even, right? So in both of those situations, you generally want to call the police. As I said, that is a you know, all around the board situation. Let's say you're in your neighborhood, a dog gets loose, one of your neighbors fucked up, the dog got out, it's trying to attack you, you have to shoot it. Uh, you do want to be the first person to call the police. Now, I will say in a situation like that, especially with Florida law, there's a very fine line between animal cruelty and self defense against, excuse me, from an animal. So technically, there is no law in Florida that excuse me, not prohibits, but permits people to use deadly force against an animal if it's attacking you. Now, I believe that's very dumb. All right. However, Florida overall is usually very lenient on it. I know some cases where it wasn't, where the state of Florida hasn't been very lenient. Uh, However, I also know a lot of situations where it has. What I have gathered, from what I've read up about the law, you know, for that fine line right there, is once again, if you can get away from the situation, get the hell away. Uh, just like anytime you have to use your firearm to defend your life, of course. You know what? That's something I should have said as well as another all around the board thing. Your life has to be in imminent danger, or the life of someone you love, or shit like that. You're defending someone else's life. Hold on, let me put my leg up. Okay, the leg has been killing me all damn day. All right. So, as I was saying, uh, you have to be defending someone's life overall. You know, whether it's yours, another person's, it has to be an imminent threat to a life for you to use self defense. Excuse me, for you to use deadly force in any defensive situation, whether it's you or another person. So that definitely is an all around little point right there. I should bring up. You don't want to do something that, let's say, you shot the dog and it starts running away. You can't chase it. Can't chase it to shoot it more. You know what I mean? It's a problem there. One of the things that was said in there in particular, and I believe this is a very, very key quote to it that should kind of help cover the basis of things. If it is causing unnecessary suffering or killing of the animal, unnecessary is the key word there. If it is necessary, it is necessary. Protecting my life is necessary. You see what I mean? So it's very tricky, at least when it comes to Florida law. I know a lot of other states are extremely different. However, that's just the truth of the matter. So that's the first part. We're gonna say a bear, as I said, for the part where you're out in nature. With realistically any animals when you're out in nature that can kill you, that you defend yourself from, I think it's still a good idea to call, because while technically, yes, you haven't committed any crime by any standard, you didn't discharge a firearm, anywhere near a public area, anything like that. You defend yourself against an animal, whatever. There's a couple of things, and this isn't the most important one. The first one I'm bringing up is not the most important. However, I do feel that you know the state is generally very petty. They would probably try to hook you on this, right? If the animal's out of season, you might be fucked. They might just say, "Oh yeah, you got to go to jail because you killed an animal that's out of season." You see what I mean? You don't got a license for hunting, you might be fucked. They might try to look at you like that for some reason, because we all know that people who are against firearms think that, the Second Amendment was based around hunting. Oh shit. So that's something that you got to think about. That isn't the biggest deal out of all of it, though. However, I do think it is still a good idea, just in case anything ever happens. Maybe some, I don't know, some fucking, I don't know, some cops are in the forest for whatever reason. I don't have a reason for why they'd be in there. They're searching for somebody. Who knows? They see some shell casings. What do you know? Comes back to you. You see what I mean? I just think it's a good idea overall, just to be safe in that situation, because technically, I don't believe there would be any repercussion. For I don't think there'd be any repercussion for not calling them in a situation like that. However, I still do think it's better safe than sorry. um, let's see here. I think that about covers it for animal defense. We're gonna move on to shit hits the fan, or SHTF. Now, when I talk about an SHTF situation, I'm talking about a state of mass lawlessness. That being said, I think that about covers it. State of mass lawlessness. We don't have anybody to report to. You defend yourself. You feel me? I think that realistically covers it for that part. That was real short. I like that one. All right. So with that being said, y'all make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that bell. When you hit that bell, hit all. And because you're like, you know what? Some of this was good information. Now, granted, guys, remember, I do want to say this one more time, real quick. All right. I'm not a lawyer. By any standard, nowhere in the world am I considered a lawyer. So if y'all are sitting there in your heads and you're like, you know what? I get it. This man ain't a lawyer, but that's some good ass advice. You feel me? Go check out the podcast channel. Check out Adam's channel, Centerfire Podcast, Gun Nut TV. Y'all know what the deal is. Y'all make sure to stay legal, stay safe, stay dangerous. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.